From the mad scientist, crazy and brilliant mind that brought us the Red Colony series, a reboot of one of his first crazy outings, and you can see where some of the crazy came from for his other games. And with a story embedded into the cyberpunk realms, and who doesn't like a good cyberpunk story, this one's at times complex and took me 2 starts to get my head around the start of the game and indeed how to progress. With the rise of a new faction after the rebel leader, KnifeBoy, had defeated the New World Order to bring peace to all. You are assassinated by a trusty friend, not very nice of them. As well as the story, there are comics and info found within the game explaining the lore as you go along. A nice touch, I indeed thought. Gameplay, and I had to give it half a point straight away for the fact that you're playing a character with a fucking knife attached to his head. But firstly, I think it's important to explain how hard it was to get into this one. I also missed a button which really didn't help and set me back a few hours as well. At its core, KnifeBoy is a Metrovania, set in a cyberpunk universe that I find interesting as a whole, but does come out a little low-key. But spend time within its realms, and it does start to make sense. For starters, there's plenty to do. Mostly all your abilities can be upgraded in one way or another, from collecting upgrades, double jump, boots, a handy dash that you will actually be using to get past some spiky environmental obstacles. Your head knives can be upgraded to new ones. You can buy extra health, armor, and top them all up, most being done using currency found or collected by slaying enemies. And yes, that knife can only be used a number of times before purchasing more uses, if you get my meaning. As well as the main quest, there are also side quests and a great map to be used, although this is confusing at times and again took me a while to get my head around. The story, however, is driven by interacting with NPCs, which was a breath of fresh air to most of the other Metrovanians I've played in the past. And anyone who has played any of Red Colony series, these will look and feel kinda familiar to you. There's a good variety of enemies, but I did find most of them easy to defeat, which was a bit of a shame to me. And this included the bosses as well, or the boss type creatures as well. And after death and respawn, the enemies actually respawn themselves, and like some other Metrovanias, when entering and leaving rooms, the enemies respawned as well. I also felt the AI a little dumb, doing odd things at times. Controls, while generally tight, felt a little fiddly at times, and also took me a little to get used to, as there was no thumbstick controls to move about, which felt a little odd. The fighting also follows the once you start to move, you have to finish it tactics, which can mean facing the wrong way on occasions and not being able to correct in time. I would definitely think this one would be called a Marmite game. Some will love it and some won't. But to be honest, to start with, I was not convinced, but I stayed the course and yes, it all started to click for me, but it was a little confusing to get there. Graphically, I'm used to this style now and welcomed a return to it, but I will say it can be glitchy at times. While the audio was atmospheric and had some good touches and music that changed depending on where you were, the music really did have some outstanding moments for me. And in parts there were even wind howling around you, but there was, patches of no sound, which for me, or for want of a better phrase, sounded a little odd. The score. In short, KnifeBoy is no AAA game, I'll say that, but for me, I definitely don't regret playing it, and I had gotten some cool moments and fun from it. There are some great ideas here that I'd love to have seen a complete remake with a bigger budget thrown at it, and maybe a prequel may come in the future. Let's hope so. All in all, and with all its faults, I'm giving KnifeBoy a 3+ out of 5, and felt, for me at least, there was value to be had here. And the price tag kind of reflected that, I felt. But as I've said before, it's kind of Marmite in a cyberpunk world. Like and subscribe for more weekly content. Thanks for watching, and join me in my Switch Heads community Discord. And be safe out there, because life is better when we switch together.